relationship flowing through that kind of forgiveness and through that kind of grace. But I'm kind of talking about someone who you might even be thinking, maybe I should limit the access that this person or these individuals have in my life. And so I like to have individuals in my life who build into me, who listen, who I can listen to and learn from, people who I can walk with and talk with. And I think one of the things for me is safety, right? Safety. So I want to have, if people are going to be friends in my life, a sense of safety where I'm safe enough to be myself, even when I'm off of the stage or off of the air. I can just chill out, and I don't have to guard every single moment as if they are in the public. You know what I'm saying? So I like that, but you don't have to be a public figure to like safety. Safety means that you feel that if you share who you are, you're not going to be rejected. You're not going to be judged. You might be corrected. You might be loved in a direction that's different than the one you're going in, but it's not like, you know what, this person is shaming me. They are judging me, and they are looking down on me. And by the way, if you have a friend or friends that always make you feel slightly judged and you feel a sense of resentment, then my question is, why are they still in your life at the same measure? Like, don't you think that maybe limiting some of that interaction is actually good for your spirit and good for who you are as a human being? Well, listen, if you want to talk about this with me, give me a call. My phone number is 888-432-7434. That's 888-432-7434. Or if you're thinking about checking me out online, you can always do that. Just go to @AndersonSpeaks. You'll find that on my Facebook page. You'll find that on the YouTube page as well, @AndersonSpeaks. What kind of friend are you? And do you want to be a better friend? And if you were to say, hey, Doc, how can I be a better friend? Give me a call. Let's talk about it. There may be somebody that you'd like to strengthen your friendship with. And you're thinking, I'd really be interested in knowing, is there one or two things I can do to make my friendship better? My number is 888-432-7434. That's 888-43-BRIDGE. And just remember that word bridge. It makes it easy. And you can put the number in your contacts and just put my name there. And then you'll always have a way to get a hold of me every day during this first hour of rush hour right here in the nation's capital. What kinds of friends are the best? Meaning, what are the most important qualities of a good friend for you? What are some of the worst qualities of a friend that would, make you adjust or maybe even end the relationship? And, we can talk about starting relationships, but have you ever thought about parting relationships? Now, listen, I'm not trying to break anybody up here. I think that having good people in your life is a good thing. But is there ever a time that you think it may be time to move on from a particular group of friends, a particular set of friends, or maybe a particular friend in specifically? Well, I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you about this because I want you in healthy relationships. I want myself in healthy relationships. And, you can't necessarily choose your family, but you can choose your friends. And, I have one friend that says, who you hang with is who you hang with. In the sense of what the Bible says is good company corrupts good morals. And so we do have to watch, or bad company, it says in 1 Corinthians, bad company corrupts good morals. And so if you have teenagers and they have a certain group of friends they hang with, when they come home, are they different than when they're hanging with another group of friends? So it's not always about the individual. It's about the people around the individual that influences the kind of attitudes, the kind of behaviors, and the kind of encouragement they get to do good or bad. And so that doesn't necessarily change when you're not a teenager. You're just more susceptible to it when you are a teenager because of the location that you find yourself in middle school or high school. But even in college and then beyond, and in churches, we can find ourselves in a network of people, and in that network, sometimes it may not be as healthy or not the right network for you at this time. It was good for you when you were in your 20s. But now that you're in your 30s or 40s, or now that maybe you're married or have kids, or now that you have a different professional desire than the rest of them, you might need to get some new friends. All right. Well, again, let me give you an opportunity to call me. My lines are open, 888-432 7434. Let's kick it off in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, with Chester, who's on the line.
Oh, man.
Hello, Mr. Chester. How you doing today?
Oh, how you doing, Doctor? Everything's fabulously well today. I just want to answer your question. The kind of friend I look for, and I have lots of them, and they all seem to fit in that category you were talking about. It's what a friend is not. I don't want to talk about what a friend is, but I would like to talk about what a friend is not. Those who will not tell you the truth, those who will not stick around you when everybody's gone. But the friend that, concluding with that, the friend that will stick with me through the end when everybody else is gone, and that person will talk truth in my heart. So I like that. What you this topic, the person that will stick with me through thick and thin. That's the kind of person I would go off the line, and
it sounds like
I could add to it. But
it sounds like the word is one of the words that come to my mind is the word loyalty. When you say stick with you, so you want somebody who's truthful and somebody who's loyal. It sounds like to me.
Yes, and truthful, very truthful. Not giving me the information I want to hear, but giving me the things I need to hear to make my resolve much better.
Yeah, so honest with you as well. Even if it hurts, it sounds like that kind of honesty helps you.
Exactly.
No, I like it. Thank
you. Thank you,
yes, sir.
I like you. I miss you guys, man. I really miss. I got my phone plugged in you. Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to share. Have a good day.
God bless you, sir. That's Chester in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and he's saying that truthfulness, honesty, loyalty, someone that will stick with them through thick and thin. You know, that's when you know who your friends are, actually. I mean, everybody can say they're your friend until you're going through something difficult. And then once you go through something difficult, all of a sudden you realize, ooh, where'd they all go? What happened? Well, you know, they tend to fall off, and that helps you to figure it out, who your real friends are. And one of the times you find that out the most, and I don't, know that this is true for everyone, but I've seen it, and that is going through a divorce. Because you kind of, if you have a couple that you're friends with, sometimes you have to pick sides. And, you can really find out when you're going through a divorce who your friends are, or were they just friends with your spouse, And you can also find out when you're going through a difficulty financially, who your friends are. You can also find out if you're going through a moral problem, who your friends are. Or if you lose your job, who your friends are. Or if you need a ride to the airport or to the hospital, who your friends are. It's the people that are there for you when you need them, the people who will pray with you when you need them. But what about you? What are the most important qualities for you? Maybe the top 2, 3 qualities for you of a good friend. And what, on the other side of it, are 2 things or 3 things that you just can't stand? Like, I can't have you be in my inner circle if you are this kind of a person. Now, hear me as a pastor. I'm not saying you just cut people off and you don't love them, you don't care about them, but you can limit the access you give them into your life. And that's what we're talking about. Limiting the access that friends have in your life who are no longer good friends. Maybe they have turned and changed because of the other friends they're hanging around that are influencing them. So there's not the same kind of relationship, but you actually see a difference in the way they behave, in the way they talk, in the way their spirit is, because maybe they have a new job or new friends, or they've gone down a different path. And so therefore the friendship with you has to shift because you don't actually like what that is doing to your relationship. Well, being a parent of 3 children who are now, all in their 20s and they're not teenagers anymore, but you could always tell when a certain child was with a certain friend or a certain group of friends. Like they might be really disciplined with the way they behave, and they might really respect you with the way they talk. And then they spend some time at a friend's house and they come back and then they start talking to you and responding to you like Johnny talks and responds to his mama. And you're like, he's been with Johnny, but I'm not Johnny's mama. I'm not Johnny's daddy. And you're going to find out real quick, you don't talk to me that way. Well, listen, what kind of friend do you want? What kind of friends do you want around you? And what are some qualities you don't want to have in your friendship circle? Well, give me a call. My phone number is 888-432-7434.
cielo está abierto aquí, preparado para liberar una lluvia que estuvimos esperando por mucho tiempo. Ese es el tiempo que, sumergido en un río que no tiene control, Espíritu Santo, tú tienes el control. Se escucha el clamor de esa generación que pide por ti, que te quiere a ti.
So many examples that you've given, brought to us, came to earth in the flesh, lived for us. For me, you chose to sacrifice, died for us. Promised to help and had your spirit sent to us. Because of grace, I can now shout hallelujah. It's not about me, it's all about you. Away from your kingdom, prepare myself every day. I'm Vienna, you're the king, you're the potter, I'm the clay, and I know you're coming back for me. King of glory.
It's Real Talk with Dr. David Anderson. How in the world are you today? It is so good to be able to hang out with you on this Wisdom Wednesday. We're talking about friendship, and specifically, what are the best kinds of friends? Meaning, what particular qualities do you feel are important if you're going to have somebody in your inner circle. I want to hear from you on the topic because honestly, maybe just possibly there's some people that shouldn't be in your friend network because maybe they're toxic. I hate using that terminology if it's not true. You don't just call people that because you have a disagreement with them. But if you find out that whenever you're connecting with them, they're connecting with you, there's just something unhealthy about that relationship, then maybe possibly that is something that's not cool with regard to the kind of people that should be in your life. And so I'd love to hear from you on the topic. Go ahead and just give me a call. Hopefully you'll be able to see me on Facebook. I'm pulling up on my phone here. I'm seeing some kind of different colors on there, but I'm also on YouTube. So if you can't see me on Facebook, go to YouTube. I'm not sure what's going on with Facebook, but I'm glad you're on WAVA 105.1 FM right here in the nation's capital. So you can hear me just fine, as well as on WAVA.com. Hear me all over the world. So make sure you tell your friends. Let me give you my number. It's 888-432-7434. That's 888-43-BRIDGE. Give me a call. Let me talk to Linda now. Linda's in Leesburg, Virginia. Hello, Miss Linda. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for taking my call. A good friend, I think about the story of Barnabas and Paul and Timothy. And there came a time when Paul said, "No, Timothy, you can't go with me." And the first time I read that story as a child, I thought, "Ooh, that's harsh. That's not good." But I grew to understand that a good friend is someone who will allow you to grow, give you time to grow. And what Paul did was he gave Timothy time to grow. And because he did that, Timothy one day became somebody that Paul said, "Hey, I need him. This is somebody who I really want with me." So if you give people the time that they need to grow, that's a good friend. And so on the other side of that coin, people who push you, who are trying to, even if it's what they think is good for you, this is not what Holy Spirit has for you yet. So those people are people you kind of need to avoid because they're pushing you into a place where maybe you should be, but this is not the time. They need to give you the time to grow and let Holy Spirit grow you so that you can be the person even that they believe that you should be. So that's a good friend, somebody who's going to allow me to grow. Yeah,
I like that. Allow you to grow. And even if they try to push you in a different direction, and once you tell them, you know what, I'm not sure that that's right for me at this time, they know how to back off and just pray for you, and allow God to speak to you in the way that He wants to, when He wants to, and they don't make it conditional that my friendship is based on whether you do what I say or whether you go in the direction I want you to go in, or even whether you behave the way that I'd want you to behave. And so I think sometimes, like you said, that space to grow shows that it's not only a good friendship quality, but it really is trusting in God that God can change people's hearts, right?
Absolutely. You got it, Pastor.
Hey, thank you so much. I love talking to you from Leesburg, Virginia. Lord be with you, okay?
And to you. Thank you, brother.
Take care. Well, let's go to Washington, D.C. and speak with Miss Deborah, who's on the line. Hi, Miss Deborah. It's Dr. Anderson. How are you?
Pastor, I am doing well. How are you today?
Oh, I'm alive and grateful. So glad you're hanging out with me. So
Hallelujah.
What are you thinking today?
Well, there's two things I think about making friends, and that is there's a scripture that says you must show yourself to be friendly. You expect to be friends, you need to show yourself to be friendly. But also it brings to mind iron sharpening iron.
Right.
Because it's not about what the person is to me, it's what I'm also to them.
Right.
So if I find someone with whom we share interests and we'll be able to support one another and we're able to speak into each other's lives, it's that type of friendship that you want, where there's a cohesiveness of cooperation.
Right.
And they trust you and you trust them.
Right.
So it's not just so much what I'm going to get out of it, but what I'm going to give so that they're getting out of it too.
Well, Well, I love the reciprocal
And
nature
sharpening iron.
of friendship that you're talking about, right? Proverbs 27:17 says exactly what you're quoting. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another or woman. And so there is a reciprocal nature of give and get and contributing both ways. So that's really smart. I like it. Thank you for your contribution today. Okay, Miss Deborah?
Have a blessed evening.
Yeah, you too now. Well, and you know what? If there's a person that just takes and takes and takes and takes, but they don't give, that doesn't feel like a reciprocal friendship, does it? If they're only a friend when they want something, that's not a good representation of friendship either. If you're always the one calling, always the one reaching out, always the one serving, and they never call you, they never write you, they never text you, they never invite you out, right? Well, then maybe that's a one-way street. And so then maybe that's an acquaintance that you're serving and you're called to serve as a ministry. I'm not saying get rid of that person. I'm saying see it for what it is. They're a ministry. They're an acquaintance. But a friend means that they also pour into me, right? They also want to encourage me sometimes. They also want to compliment me. They also want to call me every now and then and say, how are you doing, right? Or text you, say, hey, I'm just thinking about you, or how can I pray for you? That is a good quality of a friend. And by the way, spontaneously, if you want to hang out with me today from 5 to 7, I'm going to be in Columbia, Maryland at Bridgeway Community Church for a small social event for those that want to go to Africa or have been to Africa or just want to learn more about it. We're doing a little happy hour from 5 to 7 in Columbia, Maryland. Just go to bridgeway.cc to find the address of Bridgeway Community Church in Columbia, Maryland. Come hang out with me. It's free. This is Real Talk with Dr. David Anderson.
If you're anything like me, you see all the division and hostility in the world, and you know that if you just had the right tools, you can make a difference. You could help bring some healing. You could be a bridge builder. Guided by Dr. David Anderson and the Gracism Global team, I learned how to live and lead by becoming a positive solution in a world that's dealing with such negative problems. I went from feeling overwhelmed to being empowered, from being a bystander to becoming a bridge builder. Dr. Anderson has taken the principles of Gracism around the world, helping corporations, ministries, nonprofits, and government leaders grow in their ability to bridge the deepest divides of color, class, and culture. Through Gracism Global's coaching and certifications, you can gain the confidence and skills to bring change right where you are. Whether for you or your whole organization, we're here to help you bring the power of Gracism into your life and leadership today. Visit GracismGlobal.com and join us on this transformative journey. We're not just fighting against racism, we're building a world of Gracism.
Listened to Real Talk with Dr. David Anderson and wondered how we come up with heartfelt discussions on Marriage Mondays or engaging topics on Tough Topic Tuesdays? Well, our listeners are our inspiration. We would love to keep hearing from you. So if you have an idea for the show, let us know, because comprehension begins with conversation. Send us your ideas by sending an email to info@andersonspeaks.com and join the conversation on Real Talk with Dr. David Anderson.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Dr. David Anderson. For more information about this program or for resources from Dr. Anderson, please visit andersonspeaks.com. To watch on Facebook Live or to view past episodes, visit Dr. Anderson's public figure Facebook page. Just search Dr. David Anderson and click like. You can also watch live on YouTube. Just search for Anderson Speaks, all one word, and make sure to subscribe. Join our text community and receive a free weekly textpiration from Dr. Anderson. Just text the word INSPIRE to 97000. That's INSPIRE to 97000. And now, back to Real Talk with Dr. David Anderson.
That's me, Dr. David Anderson. It's Wisdom Wednesday, and we're talking about friends, and specifically the kind of friends that you want, the kind of friends that you are, kind of friend that you are, the wisdom of choosing the best kind of friends. So what are the most important qualities of a good friend that you have as your top 2 or 3 things? And then also, what are some of the worst qualities of a friend? And might you have to adjust a relationship, maybe even end a friendship? How do you do that? Well, if you want to talk to me about it, I can walk you through it, talk you through it, pray you through it. Just give me a call. My phone number is 888-432-7434. That number again is 888-432-7434. Or just remember the word bridge, 888-43-BRIDGE. I definitely want to hear from you. My lines are open. We have just a few minutes left together, so take advantage of it while you can. And I sure hope that you're good friends. You know, how can you be a good friend? Well, first of all, you can be a gracious friend, somebody who extends grace to the people who are your friends, even though they're late all the time. I got one that's always late. All right, but extend grace there, right? But then maybe the kind of friend that is also very forgiving. Right. And so if somebody makes a mistake or somebody does something wrong or says something that hurts, you know, being willing to forgive is a good quality. So if you want to be a good friend, be gracious, be forgiving, and also be kind. You know, when you get close to people, sometimes you can be unkind, but as you are a friend, you want to be kind. I think you also want to be giving. So gracious, forgiving, kind, and giving. I think that friendship is a two-way street. And so you don't want to just be a receiver. You want to be a giver. You want to make sure that you're one who can contribute. And I'm not talking about just buying gifts. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about giving encouragement, giving compliments, right? Giving something that's going to build into the self-esteem of another is the best kind of gift you can ever give, because it's going to outlast anything else that you buy them, right? And so I think that that's really, really important to be a sense of wind beneath the wings of another. My phone number is 888-432-7434. You're listening to me on WAVA 105.1 FM out of Arlington, Virginia, as well as on WAVA.com and at Anderson Speaks on my social media, including on YouTube today. And so here's the question for the next couple of minutes that we have left. And that is, for the good friends, what are the important qualities for you? Have you thought about that? And then for the ones that aren't so good, or the ones that might need some adjustment, and that is the kind of friends that have certain qualities that are not good for you, right? And what are some of those qualities? I'd love to hear from you, 888-43-BRIDGE. But can I give you some? Can I give you some characteristics of a bad friend? One is a bad friend, or somebody that you don't want in your life regularly. And remember, I'm not saying cut people off completely, but you can limit access, right? So instead of talking every day, you talk a couple times a week. Instead of meeting together regularly during happy hour like you used to, you know what? You're doing that once or twice a month. Instead of texting back and forth all the time, you are taking longer to return text. I mean, sometimes you have to limit the amount of time that someone has access to you to be in your orbit. And why would you do that? Well, one bad quality that could really affect you negatively is if they are a negative person. So they're just constantly negative, right? There are people who cannot see the light in any situation or being around. There's always something negative about their mental health, about what they say about you, what they say about themselves, what they say about the situation. It doesn't make them a bad person, but you just find that you feel pulled down. You feel drawn to the negative, and yet there's somebody else when you're around them. No matter how bad things get, they're gonna look at the positive side, and they're not gonna let you get all the way down into the dumps. But here's a good quality of a friend. When you're in the dumps, they'll get down there with you to hold you and to encourage you. And they feel safe to have you in the trenches when they're going through a really, really tough time. They may have had a hard day at work, or they're in a hard season in school, or they're in a bad situation in their relationship and they're feeling like their esteem is low. They don't feel like they're a good person. And you're a good friend because you're reminding them that, no, you are a better person and you can't believe everything the other person said. And God still loves you. And I'm going to pray with you. That is the good friend. And I like what Deborah said. You have to show yourself friendly. That's the way you do it. You're like, well, how do I make friends? How can I make friends? You can make friends by showing yourself friendly. How can I get a new friend? You can get a new friend by being a friend to someone else. And those other qualities I talked about, being gracious and forgiving and kind and giving, right? And when you are giving encouragement, when you are giving prayer, when you are paying attention, one who listens, that is how you're going to make friends, because you're showing yourself friendly. And let's go ahead and add that quality as well, and that's listening. I think a good friend is one who listens, good listeners. And I have friends that I listen to, like they call and they want to share, what they're dealing with, and to be able to listen to them, maybe be a sounding board. And sometimes they need to remind me that you don't have to solve this, right? I need to vent, and I like being that for the people that I love, right? And I like that people that I love can be that for me. But it takes safety in the friendship and the relationship, knowing that the relationship is not going to end because I'm having a really bad day, right? Because tomorrow's a new day, right? So I'd love to talk to you about it. If you want to give me a call, the number is 888-43-BRIDGE. Let's go to Tawana. She's in Maryland right now. Hello, Miss Tawana. How are you today?
Hi, Dr. Anderson. I'm well. How are you? Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm alive and grateful. Tell me what you're thinking about this topic on friendship.
I think it's a great topic. I basically believe that friendship is just based upon being reciprocated. You give and you learn from one another. You grow together and you go through the thick and thin and support one another through the good, bad, and the ugly.
Right.
I just think, I don't know why, but I tend to, for some reason, I have one best friend.
Okay.
And I've gone through a series of friends or I don't know, maybe associates that seems like they tend to take. I don't know if it's because I'm a giver and I love to give, but people seem to want to have what I have and they take instead of giving.
Yeah, and so
I don't
they
know
take
what
advantage.
that would be called, but
well, when you're a giver, you like when people take. You just don't like people to take advantage. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I know the feeling, and I have other friends around me who get really upset when they see other people taking advantage of me, which just proves the kind of friend that they are. So hopefully, that one friend you have is that kind of friend that helps protect you from others who want to take advantage of you. Hey, listen. Thank you, Tawana.
Absolutely.
God bless you. I'm coming right back. I got to run to a break. This is Real Talk with Dr. David Anderson. Real Talk with Dr. David Anderson. I'm back. It's so good to be able to hang out with you. And of course, I call you friends with the general sense of friends through radio. But, you know, there are people in your life who can be friends. And the kind of friends we're talking about today are the ones with certain qualities that you want them to be in your orbit. This is good for your mental health. It's not good to be alone and not to have any friends. But it's also not good to have people who are in your life who call themselves friends, but they have qualities that are really not good for you or your mental health or your spiritual health. Now, there's a difference between friends and acquaintances. So you should have a lot of acquaintances, but few friends, right? And friends, again, whether you use the terminology that way in your brain, you need to have those categories. So even if you call in everybody friends, this is my friend Joe, this is my friend Bob, okay, that's fine. But in your mind, you need to know, when I think true friends, when I think of, like, Jesus had the 12, but then he had the 3. The 12, he was with them all. They were with him all the time as disciples, but the 3 were with him in his most personal moments, even when the other 9 weren't around. And so, you know, maybe there are 2 or 3 that you would consider go-to friends who I trust and I know trust me. And if I mess up, it's not like they're out the door. And so that's what we've been talking about today. Miss Grace calls and she says, she's from Baltimore. She says consistency and acceptance are the 2 most important qualities for her as a friend. Consistency and acceptance. Thank you, Miss Grace, for that. And, you know, in the Bible, it talks about 2 or 3 gathered. That's usually because of like a legal contract. But Jesus is saying that when you come in my name, I am there in the midst as well. And we do see some beautiful friendships among certain people in the Bible, like Jonathan and David, or, you know, Ruth and Naomi. I mean, these are some relationships that we can look at that are like same-sex relationships where people are walking together. And then there's sometimes when you do have to part, and that is the story of Paul and John Mark. You know, when Paul and Barnabas were going on a journey together, Barnabas wanted to bring John Mark, and Paul didn't. You know, and so they ended up separating for a while. And sometimes you might have to do that, and yet at the end of his life, he circles back in the book of Timothy, and, you know, says, "Hey, you know, bring this person back to me. You know, they're important to me." And so there may be some times when you have to reconcile friendships. Maybe there was something that went wrong and separated you, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay separated all your life. Maybe you get done with that season and you come back and you sort of look over what happened and you come back into each other's life. That's okay too. It's called reconciliation. And so it's not always going backward.